What is up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Ultimate 616. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you've been paying attention to this channel for like the last month, you know that we did an MCU movie marathon leading up to Infinity War, and today Infinity War dropped, and I went and watched it, and I could not be more happy. And oh man, the Russo brothers really took my heart, ripped it in small pieces, just kind of threw some over here, some over there, threw it behind them, and then just left it in pieces. And that's basically how the movie was. So let's get into it, shall we? The Russo brothers did an amazing job putting this movie together. They had such a grand scale that they had to take and condense in a 2.5 hour movie, and they did an amazing job. I think it's just because they worked two different directors working together at the same time, and they worked together so well. Honestly, I am so glad they took over the franchise after Joss Whedon left, because they are more than perfect. If you've seen Captain America: Civil War, you can understand how those two managed to put so many people into one movie. And this was basically Captain America: Civil War, but on a grander scale. And honestly, the way that they do this movie, if you only pay attention to the Avengers franchise, Avengers 1, Age of Ultron, and now Infinity War, that's all you really need to know. They catch you up on all the main characters just really quick, and we learn most of our information as Bruce Banner. So just pay attention to the parts where Bruce Banner shows up for the first time, and you will understand all the background information that you need on all the characters and all the players that are in this movie, and all the new ones we get introduced to, and we get introduced in a very, very, very shocking way. So the movie actually starts out, they hold back, no punches. The movie starts out with a death that, honestly, that I can agree with. I hate to say it. I really do. I really hate to say it. But I can understand this death and the reason it happens. It's still tough to watch. We've been watching and celebrating these characters for 10 years. 10 years. I feel so old. But they really don't pull the punches in this one, and honestly, I can really understand every move that they made in this movie. So when you go watch this in movie theaters and you're really mad, just trust me that they want you to feel that way for a specific reason, and it's for a point. It really is. Now, the new players make a big difference. Thanos shows up with his Black Order. The Black Order is comprised of 4 people with superpowers that are basically matched, almost not evenly matched, but pretty close to it with the Avengers. Not just like 1 or 2, but like all of them. So it takes different factions of the Avengers to take down just one of these guys, and the battles that they have actually are really, really, like, I don't know, somebody gonna die? I mean, what's gonna happen? Nobody knows. I mean, the Russos leave you in a very anxious state throughout this movie. They really do. So yeah, the Black Order is somebody you really need to watch out for in this movie. Thanos himself. Thanos is the big bad in this movie. Obviously, you couldn't tell from the trailers, but yeah, he proves his point time and time again throughout this movie. The journey that he goes on to get these Infinity Stones is just crazy, like crazy massive. He goes from different ends of the universe to grab these stones just to make his plan a reality. He does. He goes through one by one. I wish it was more of a personal journey. This is where I get a little have issues with the movie. It's not so much a personal journey, really, because he has his order looking for him as well. They do get some for him. I wish that it was mostly just him doing it, because it would really drive home the effect of him doing this. But yeah, there are a few where it's just like, dude, what? When he goes looking for the Soul Stone, you'll understand. Especially that one. That one probably hurt the most. Yeah, I mean, the issue that he has is a real world issue, like something that happens in the real world, something that is a big issue that we as humans on Earth are dealing with in the real world. And it is a very serious issue, and the Russos pulled it off. They make it work, not only as a human point of view, but and Thanos' point of view, and he takes that real world issue and he just explodes it across the universe. He does, and you can really understand and really understand where he's coming from. Like you can see his point of view. You don't really want to take his action because the actions that he takes are like radical. But if there was a good solution to do it, we should do it. But the way that he goes about it is wrong. But you can really understand his point of view, is what I'm saying. His perspective on it. He's the good guy. He thinks he's doing the universe a favor. You know, so by the end of the movie, he's actually pleased with himself. And I honestly say the Russo brothers, just oh man, I just got out of watching this movie and I'm still feeling everything. Now I would put him up there with Eric Killmonger as far as one of the great MCU villains. He really is. The mannerisms, his goal, the CGI actually works really well in this movie too. I was gonna be a little afraid that it was gonna be like I don't know, bad. I don't know how else to describe it, but it worked. It worked really well. There was a lot of CGI in this movie. Of course, there was a lot of death and destruction going around. They weren't going to be able to do all that practically. I know the Russo brothers love doing practical effects, but in this movie, the CGI was just going to be necessary. And honestly, they did a great job with it. A lot of it looks fantastic. You can't really differentiate, what CGI is and what isn't as far as realism goes. Now, like if they're doing repulsor blasts and stuff like that, obviously it's CGI, but the other stuff actually meshes very well with the real world actors. So let's get down to the actual characters who are involved in this movie. So yes, it all picks up after Civil War and Thor Ragnarok and all that stuff, but it doesn't it lasts for like just a few minutes. We pick up right where those movies ended, and yes, the Avengers are still divided, but they actually overcome it, because they have a greater threat. Thor is in space. The Asgardians are still lost, and it was a Hulk. Like I said, we learn a lot of our background information on the characters and stuff through Bruce Banner. Unfortunately, a lot of the characters, like I said, like many reviewers have said, they don't get enough screen time. There are 60 plus characters they have to cram into this movie, and not everybody gets a lot of screen time, but the ones that do, they pull it off very well. Thanos, like I said, gets the most screen time because he is the big bad. You can basically call this Avengers Thanos. This is all about him. But the heroes that we do know and love, Thor, Captain America, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Peter Quill, all of them, they get quality screen time. Some of the lesser characters, they show up and make an appearance just really quick. They pull their weight as far as the fight goes. Wakanda, I thought was going to have a bigger impact in the story. It doesn't really, but there's still a huge part in the story. You'll understand what I mean when you go watch the movie. But yeah, it's not, like they said, it's not going to be all the characters all at once in one area. They take these characters in different factions, and they meet up, they split up. Some meet up later on. Obviously, some of them die. I can't get over that. But yeah, the way that they pulled this off is a huge grand scale. He's going across the universe to grab these stones. The heroes have to split up across the universe, and honestly, I love the fact that they split them up into small factions, and the small factions that they split them up into, the characters that they are in, that are connected in these scenes, they work very well together, especially Stark and Doctor Strange. Those two guys crack me up. And no, there is no Sherlock, banter between either one of them. There's no acknowledging that there's two different Sherlock Holmes sharing the screen, unfortunately. I know a lot of people wanted to hear that, wanted to see it. I was actually kind of looking forward to it now that a lot of people were talking about it, but unfortunately we didn't get it. Now, as far as deaths go, yes, they start out with a really strong one. They start out with a bunch, and they end with a bunch, and in between there's a few, but the way that they do it was so good. I hate to say that because they all die, but it was so good. characters that I know and love just gone. And the way that they did it, I don't want to say too much, but some were a little more predictable. Some were just like, dude, did they really? And then some were like, come on, are you serious? Why? But yes, the way that it works out, there's got to be a point to it. There really has to be a point to it. As far as the future installments go, what I want to know is how all the deaths are going to affect the future movies, especially with Ant-Man and the Wasp coming out soon, Netflix series coming out soon, because you kind of have to notice half of the population of the entire universe being gone. But overall, I would say that the Russos did a great job writing, directing, and they really proved a point. You know, we finally I got in a conversation with somebody at work, and they said that it's gonna suck seeing them die, you know, something like that along the lines. And like I ended up getting to a point where I just said, yeah, you know, it's about time they're getting killed off. I hated saying it, but it's also true. But it's about time they get killed off because you know they're gonna survive their own franchises. It's a franchise. We all know they're gonna be trilogies. So as much as they look like they're in danger in like the first two, maybe even third one, they're really not. You know, because we knew this movie was coming. And then when it actually happened, it was still heartbreaking to watch because you knew it was happening and then it actually happened. Overall, the movie is something that you need to go watch for yourself in theaters. I mean, the more that you wait, the more you're going to hear people talk about it. I try to keep this really vague. So yes, go try to check it out as soon as you possibly can. It is worth a ticket. It's worth 2 tickets. I'm actually going to probably watch it again in theaters. Yeah, so it is worth it. Everything that they did was amazing. Everything they've done in the last 10 years led up to this point, and they did not disappoint. Thank you, Russo brothers. So again, thank you guys so much for stopping by this channel. I really enjoyed this movie. Let me know what your thoughts were in this movie while you were watching it, what your thoughts were after the movie. I still feeling it. I still can't believe what I watched. Thank you so much. Leave comments, subscribe, and yeah, can't wait to talk to you guys about it. I'll see you all in the next video.